Hey, my fellow YouTubers. It is good to be back. And oh my gosh, what a hectic week it was. Well, I'm getting over a cold, so that's why I'm sounding a little different. But it's okay. I'm well enough to do a video. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got a haircut. But that's not the main reason why I'm making this video. Yes, I got a new do. Well, I got a new cut, which which is really nice. But the reason that I am doing this video is because I was watching a Peanuts video. Well, I'm not too crazy for Peanuts, but there's this one special I want to talk about. It's called Why Charlie Brown Why. Oh, such a tearjerker. So I'm going to tell you how I felt about watching that video. So it starts when Charlie Brown, Linus, and Sally are waiting for the bus to go to school with their friend Janice. And Janice is most likely close with Linus. And I could tell they like each other. In a way, I can sense it. So once they were going on the bus, you know how like you accidentally bump into something and you can get a red mark or maybe a bruise depending how hard you hit it. But Janice banged on the handle on the school bus and it gave her a bruise. And she was saying that she's been bruising easily because, like, you don't usually bruise that easily. Well, I guess that some people do and some people don't. I don't bruise easily when I bang into something. Like I'll notice it the next day and not remember how it happened. But anyhow, moving on. Um so yeah, like of course you don't think anything of it right away. But then of course like later on, Janice was not feeling well and Linus thought, "Oh, you're probably just nervous. It happens to me too when we have a test." And then she's like, "No, I feel warm." And she wanted Linus to touch her forehead. And then he's like, "Oh, wow, you do feel warm. Well, if you're not feeling well, you should go home or go to the nurse." So, of course, she went to the nurse and her fever was high. And in my mind, I'm like, "Uh-oh, I know what this means." Um, yeah. So, Charlie Brown and Linus got really worried about Janice, which is understandable. They're very caring, and I worry about my loved ones, especially that is a person who is part of the family or a close friend. I can relate. Anyhow, so so yeah. Then once the kids went to school, of course, the boys were worrying about Janice, and then Sally's like, "Why is everybody worried about Janice? I'm the one that's having a bad day." And then I guess Charlie Brown's like, "Why you?" And then Sally's like, "Oh, I left my lunch in the front porch." And then I'm like, "Sally, come on, like you you can easily solve that problem. Like you can buy lunch in the school cafeteria." Unless they have one. I don't know. But I thought it was funny when Snoopy ended up eating it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, Snoopy. But, like, I'm sorry, but the way you're asking why they're worrying about Janice, I mean, Janice is a Janice is a special friend. Okay, I'm not gonna say she's special, but she's, their friend, and she's special to them. They got a special bond. That's what it meant to say. And their teacher informed the class that she was in the hospital. And that's, my gut was telling me, oh, I think I know what it is. So Linus and Charlie Brown went to visit her, which was really nice. So they went to visit her after school. And that's when Janice told them that she had leukemia. Oh, I could see the worriness in Charlie Brown and Linus' face when she told them that she had cancer. And I know that feeling. Cancer can be scary, but if it's caught in time or caught early, there is a good chance that, that person will beat it. But sometimes in reality, some people don't get better, and some people end up dying of cancer. I know how that feels because I lost some loved ones to cancer, and trust me, it sucked. Cancer is evil. But I guess in her situation, um, they caught it early, and good for Linus for encouraging her to go to the nurse and to go home if she wasn't feeling well. Yeah, so good for him. That's what a real friend does. So yeah, and if I remember, she told the guys that she had to do some tests to see what was causing the bruising and the fever and the fatigue, because that's one of the symptoms of leukemia. And yeah, so she had to run some tests, especially in the bone marrow. And then when she told them about the bone marrow test, I know Charlie Brown was like, did it hurt? And then she's like, yes. But I know one of them asked if she was going to die, which is legit. I know a lot of people that get diagnosed with cancer ask if they're going to die. And then I know Linus was like, good grief, Charlie Brown. And then Janice was like, no, it's okay. I asked the doctor the same question too. Yeah. And it's okay to ask that. Like, but if it's caught early, you'll get a better chance to beat it. But anyhow, yeah. So I know she told the guys that she has to go through chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy was going through her IV line. And then in my head, I'm like, you got this, Janice. You're going to beat this horrible disease. And she says so herself. She's like, I'm going to beat this disease, and I'm going back to school with my friends. Yes. That's a positive attitude. And she was staying positive through the whole situation. I know some people can be scared, worried, depressed, but she had a positive attitude. And I admired her for that. Admired. Sorry. Sorry about my congestion. And anyhow, um I during those times while she was going through those cancer treatments, she did go back to school, and everybody was so happy to see her, of course. But before I get to that part, I know Linus's sister Lucy. Oh, I hate that character so much. Ugh. I don't like her snotty attitude. So Lucy was like, where have you been? Oh, and then he's like, Charlie Brown and I went to go see Janice at the hospital. And that's when, Linus told her that she has leukemia, which is, blood cancer. And he was telling her how the time when he felt her forehead, and she asked him to, which is understandable. Um, yeah. And then Lucy's like, you touched her? Now you're gonna catch cancer. And then Linus was like, cancer is not contagious. It's not like catching a cold or a flu. And then what made me mad, what Lucy said was, oh, she probably got it because she's a creepy kid. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Lucy, what's wrong with you? And then Linus is like, Janice didn't get cancer because she did something wrong. It just happened. I'm like, yeah, I agree. It just happened. And it's evil. And I don't understand why it has to happen to so many innocent people, including little children. That's what breaks my heart. And then she was like, oh, take your milk. I don't want it. And then, because she asked Linus to give him milk. And then Linus was like, no, thank you. I don't want to catch your crabbiness. And I was like, oh, burn. Serves her right. So then, anyhow, now I'm going back to the next scene when Janice goes back to school after being away for so long for doing chemotherapy. She was happy to be back, and I know everyone else was. She said she was sad because she lost her hair due to the chemo. It's totally understandable. But it's hair. It will grow back. Yeah. But the saddest part is that some people who go through this kind of disease, yes, some people's hair grow back, but some people's hairs don't. And that's okay. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say it like that, but I mean, yes, it's okay that, they're okay with it, but I'm sure that they still feel a little hurt inside, which is totally understandable. So, Linus was saying that they got rid of the swings for the winter because, like, because Linus and Janice, they love to go on the swings, and Linus loves pushing her. And, of course, there's bullying involved. So many people can be so ignorant. Anyhow, that bully was like, oh, look at her, she's bald. Well, Linus was not having none of it. He stood up to that bully. I remember him getting aggressive. Well, not aggressive, but he got angry. And he's like, what's the matter with you? And then the bully's like, what's the matter with me? What's the matter with her? She's bald. And then she's like, Janice got cancer and she's been doing chemotherapy and it makes her hair fall out. Like, would you like to go through what she's going through? Or don't you think about anything? Yeah, good for you, Linus, for standing up to her. Bleh. Good, good for you, Linus, for standing up for her. Excuse my words and misunderstanding. So, like I said, good for him. He stood up for Janice. I mean, nobody should ever, get bullied, due to chemotherapy. Nobody should ever go through that. Well, heck, nobody should, be stared at, period. So, yeah. Good for Linus for telling that bully that about Janice's leukemia. I admired him for that. Yeah. and he was a stronger person. And he even gave her a Christmas present. And I understand that her sisters were feeling left out, but they'll still feel loved. I mean, and I know one sister was like, "Oh, they're probably just get well presents." Yeah, of course they're get well presents. Lots of people get get well presents when they were they were like hmm, when they're sick or when they're in the hospital. Yeah, that's what people do when someone cares about you. Yeah. Oh, but the ending of that special, oh my gosh. When Janice came back and it was springtime and she told Linus, "I have a surprise for you." And she was going to go on the swings and he was going to push her again like they did before. And then Linus was like, "What's the surprise?" And of course she's like, "Push me, please." And then the cap falls out of her head, and look what happens. Her hair is back. And then Linus was like, "Yay!" And she's happy and giggling while she's on the swings. And in my head, I'm like, "Yay! Janice beat the cancer." So I am so happy that she beat leukemia. And I know leukemia is a horrible, horrible cancer, especially in younger children. I had a cousin that died from leukemia. I didn't know him very well, but he had leukemia and he was on in remission for a bit and he passed away, unfortunately. But people continue to fight this horrible disease. And yeah, I'm sorry. And I even, you know, have movies that involved leukemia, but that'll be another movie. Well, another movie review. So, anyhow, I hope you all have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. And I hope you all are going to have a great winter holiday and a Merry Christmas. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye bye.